So thanks to Ross and Jenny for bringing us out. Awesome little brekkie. Probably the best brekkie we're going to have for a few days, and here we go, 1000k. Number 8.
Ready?
Ready.
First wobble. Albany or bust.
Apprehension and anticipation rule our day. This is the real deal. It's not just a training walk. It's not just a date on a carefully prepared spreadsheet. This is the culmination of months dreaming, preparing, losing pack weight, lifting weights, dehydrating food, dropping off supply packs, perfecting our sock game. Now it's time to trust the plan. Now it's time to stop planning and start doing. Time to start being.
Hoping you could hear the squawking and the feeding of the big black cockatoos. Wonderful creatures. And I'm expecting that we'll be seeing and hearing a lot from them between here and Albany.
The way you're moving, it's got me moving my own feet. The greatest feeling that I could ever dare to dream is you forever moving next to me.
Yeah, we saw that they were doing some prescribed burns here 4 or 5 days ago. They were burning through here. You can smell it as well. You can smell the resin from these belga trees. They actually make quite a good incense. Couple of kilometres till Hewitt's hut, and then we'll have lunch. Our first campsite. We're in Perth's Hill Discovery Centre. So it's got these fancy campsites, and this is going to be us for the night. It's about all we need.
Sawdust and comfy. All right, so day 2. Oh, why have I got a
Okay,
thing there?
let's have a look. So, hit that.
All right, it's day 2, and so I'm a little late coming in with our day 1 report. Drama, nil. Damage, a little. I think I was wearing my pack too low yesterday for the weight, so I pinched my hips a little bit. Nature report yesterday. We did see a giant kangaroo. He was a big boy. Of course, lots of birds. Flower of the day yesterday, I think, was the fringe flower, although the flowers yesterday were abundant.
It's her first attempt and hasn't fallen over yet, so all good.
What are you doing? Massa in the background kept thinking about, you know, that Mum would be able to tell me the names of things. Hi Mum. But Howie does a good job of making them up if we don't know the name for something. So there'll be more.
To be a botanist namer.
Botanist namer. Yeah. So I expect there'll be more of that as we go.
So we're calling these little guys milky kitten paws, white candles, coronavirus,
Corona bush.
pom-poms, or no, actually, snowballs.
Pink enamels, because your mother-in-law taught you something.
I've just been naming some more flowers. The Gothic blob, or Gothic bean.
Bean.
I'm not sure.
Gothic boy.
Gothic boy.
It's unusually black.
We only saw one little sort of field of these a while back. Oh, well, yesterday, a while back. And we thought we weren't going to find them again, but there you go. Could be the last one, except for those ones over there. Keep going.
Oh,
There.
oh, that one there. And there. And all up there, hanging out with their corona mates.
So this is a baby
Xanthorrhea
Xanthorrhea.
bulgur tree.
They grow about a centimetre a year. So that one's probably, who knows,
Very new,
very new.
but it's flowering.
But yeah, it has a flower. Quite rare to see, I think.
So, don't know how that will go. Here
It's better.
we've stopped at this nice little spot with some mossy parts next to us and some carnivorous little plants and flowers. That we've stopped here for some foot care. I've been walking and feeling a hot spot on my foot, so we've stopped so I can tape it and prevent that from turning into a blister. Foot care.
Hey guys, how you going? There's a bushfire right there. Hopefully it's just a prescribed burn, but next time we get reception we'll check some sites. If the Bibbulmun track would be going through there at all, we would have had notifications and there would have been signage up stopping us walking through there, but yeah, it's all a bit, whoa. So we finished lunch at Helena campsite, mushroom soup and things. Watch out for the hole. Now that is the track we take. Bit of confusion, we'll work out where we're going. There's a sign up in there.
Okay.
We're supposed to not go down the kangaroo track, which I thought this might have been, but it is a bit well worn. And there's a woggle. That's what we follow. Yeah, pretty warm this afternoon. Had a couple of steep descents and ascents straight after lunch. Makes it a bit hard. But, I mean, look at this. This is just gorgeous. This is all we have to do today, after all, is just walk. I mean, look at it. It's amazing.
The sun's starting to set when we finally arrive at Woolwich campsite, completely spent. We definitely underestimated the difficulty of this 21 kilometres, especially from the steep ascent straight out of Helena Hut through the ups and downs of the Helena Valley. We arrived to quite a crowd on this last weekend of the school holidays, estimating around 30 people in and around the hut. So we set up as far away as possible, about 1 kilometre from the toilet, or so it seems. You go to bed wondering what the hell we're doing.
So, good morning, day... Hold on. Clean the screen. So, morning of day 3. Yeah, the first 2 nights we've just been a bit tired. When we've got in, been long and hard, but just gorgeous, beautiful. Just long, and we've been getting in just before sunset, so by the time we set up and have dinner, we're straight to bed. Another fairly big day today, 20k. First half is reasonably flat, sort of looking a bit like this, but the second half of the day will be we've got a 4-kilometre climb. Temperature's creeping up a bit to about 28 degrees today, but there's a nice light wind, so we'll see how we go. Plenty of water, plenty of breaks, and yeah. Oh, an update on that fire we saw. Somebody managed to look up on the fire people's website. It was a prescribed burn, and everything seems to have disappeared today, all the smoke. So we had lunch at Berriking campsite. Lunch, it was more like a second breakfast. We were there quite early. But this push on through to Mount Dale, it's got some steep climbs, some steep descents and ascents, ups and downs.
Gonna sing?
No, I'm over it now.
Oh. My love,
You had your chance.
my love, don't mind me. Hansel, should we visit the lady with the nice house? Such a riot, an abundance, a glory of wildflowers. I was trying to think of a collective noun for wildflowers when they burst out. A forest of wildflowers, a splendifera of wildflowers. Anyway, An outpouring. Nice. Oh, hello little friends. Look how he's got passengers. That is just so Australian. But there are ways to deal with it.
What's really great is when you're walking along and you notice a new plant. You sort of come around the corner, bang, there's a whole new little ecosystem going on. And we're walking on sand. And we think they're called smoke bush, not sure, but you could see how you could think it would be if there was a lot of them. What a great day, glorious day. Not as hard as we thought it was going to be, although it did get very hot in the middle of the day. But just this last hour or so, 2 hours actually, with the sun going down and there's a little bit of smoke haze up. So there's some beautiful light coming through and just a nice little smoky smell.
We spoke to some very helpful people from the Bibbulmun Track Foundation leading a tour. Okay, and they told us that in fact the small ones that you see, I'm not sure if that's one there, no, that looks like Dianella, that one.
Yeah.
But some of the small ones that you see are actually not babies, they just grow to that height. They're a different species. And
those are the normal ones?
Those are the normal ones, yeah. You can see they've got big, wide, hairy tops. You can see the foliage on them is really abundant.
Like this one here.
And that is genuinely the Xanthorrhoea and the really slow growing one. But the other one that we saw,
we can't see any of them. The ones that were 6 foot and above.
Yeah. They're called the Kingia. And they are in fact a completely different plant. Much faster growing and more often having multiple crowns. Kingia. And maybe that's why. No blisters, no snakes, no drama to report, no damage.
Well, we've just walked into where are we? Mount Dale Hut?
Yep.
And there's no one here.
20 people last night. Bathroom?
Potentially. We've got the hut to ourselves tonight.
Morning dawns on day 3 and we just had our first night's sleep in a hut with no one else there, which was really great once I got over my little sense of the creeps, realised that the noises I was hearing in the night were probably Howie rolling, scratching, and not mice. Although our food was safely away in a steel box that the Biberman people have kindly provided at that hut, thank you. And certainly wasn't a murderer or a lyrical gangster.
And we're definitely coming out of the sort of the steep valleys around those Perth Hills, the Kalamunda Hills there. And this is just, yeah, this is brilliant. Perfect time of day, great temperature.
Wide track.
Nice wide track, 2-person track. Walk side by side. So the tracks we've been walking on the last hour or so used to be old railway lines. And here's a couple of the old railway sleepers. So just about to go over Brockton Highway. Clear that way. Clear that way. Don't want to mess that up.
That's how far we've come. And that's how far we've got to go till we see our baby girl. We're up here on Abyssinia Rock. This is a really amazing ecosystem here. Most of the plants, including these ones you can see with the reddish colour on them, go dormant in the summer, come to life just in the winter. But a lot of the little plants that are in here are carnivorous.
Not sure what this thing is. Seems to be moving.
Catherine's log, day 5. Right, spent last night at Canning Hut, where we caught up with Bob. We'd been reading Bob's entries in the logbooks before we got there, and so we were wondering if we were going to meet. We're having quite a relaxed morning, and I think today is going to be our shortest walk. So really we've done 3 or 4 days of quite hard haul. Bit of an endurance test for us. Now our packs are a bit lighter and our days are a bit shorter. We get to really just enjoy the stroll. Right now I'm walking on a bed of, here we are, walking on a bed of she oak. It's really light on the feet, which is great. There's Brolly up ahead, strolling along too. Beautiful. We said that before. Some more kingia and we can see the fallen flowers. Yeah, how he's got one to demonstrate. It's like a scepter. And the Noongar name for the kingia is the Bullanook. Bullanook. It's huge.
Just love the shapes of the leaves on these different plants. Lovely big trees have been burnt out during the fires, the forest fires, and they still stand. Maybe supply a little bit of shelter, but then they sprout again quite happily and regenerate. Just come over the footbridge at Canning River. Beautiful little spot. Just sat for a while looking at the water, listening to the birds
And frogs.
and frogs, and then off we go. Really good day. We've chewing through the kilometres pretty quickly.
We've been walking before now with Bob, our trackmate, new trackmate, and he's great for whiling away the walking time, telling stories, telling us about his life in Indonesia. So I'm sure we'll see more of Bob because he's going the same way as we are.
and that's that way, up that hill.
Here we go.
It really feels prehistoric walking through here. Just absolutely gorgeous.
There's a sense of scale.
Yeah, there's a sense of scale to some of these things. And I shall name you Maggie Orchid, after Maggie Simpson. In fact, if we had started a week or so earlier, we would have had to be on a diversion around this area. We wouldn't be walking through here. Would have added an extra 3 or 5k or something to the hike.
And a couple of little mountains that we get to climb tomorrow. So
Oh, would we have missed those?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
so we're pleased to get to go through here.
Once again, the smell of it though is actually quite nice. It's not overbearing. It's just this subtle, sweet, woody, smoky smell.
Aroma.
Day 5, we've finished in some very hot weather, maybe 30 degrees. So we're going to take you on a quick little toilet tour of the main bathroom facilities. There are no showers, no running water, and well, there's one sit down toilet. They're all long drops. And that's pretty much it. We'll go in there if you're lucky. Well, generally. And a quick tour of our home for the next 2 months basically. And well, there it is. And That's basically it. I'm on that side, Kath's there, and we put sometimes put our packs or a few other things that we want to have kept inside. That was quick. Fucking flies around here though. Tomorrow we get a resupply. We're meeting Aisha and Caitlin at Sullivan Rock. Getting a resupply there, so that'll be good. That's our first one. So exciting. Should get some great shots tomorrow and awesome views from the top of Mount Cuthbert and Mount something else. Nathan something. That's not right. We know which way to go.